I happen to think Alistair is one of the smartest people I know, and I would never even attempt to try and challenge his intellect. Let's just get that straight. Go back to the Great Depression. Homestake mining was the number one performing stock in the entire, when during the market collapse. It was the number one performing stock in the entire stock market when everything collapsed. I agree with Alistair on most everything he ever says. The only thing is that I would not put an overwhelming amount of faith in the mining companies doing that, because things can get very ugly very fast. Maybe a guy like Keith Neumeyer might actually do something like that, as he's one of the only businessmen running a mining company in what is predominantly being run by geologists who don't see things as clearly as a guy like Keith does. I think there's certainly value in mining shares. And if I had to guess where we are heading, look, we have almost $200 trillion in debt. Medicare Part B, 99 trillion underfunded. Part D, the prescriptions, 22 trillion underfunded. Social Security, 77. Government military pensions. We're creating 1 trillion in debt every 100 days. That's 100,000 every second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how fast we're accumulating debt. Inflation is going nowhere. Inflation is only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, especially as countries around the world start divesting more and more and more of dollars and treasuries. I could see the stock market going ballistic. I could. But in terms of, and I can see gold going ballistic. I think it will bring on how do you even say it? It would bring on a mega trend in commodities. And I think the stock market will probably go higher in that environment, maybe a lot higher, but lower in terms of ounces of gold. It going higher and higher and higher. What's it really worth? You need to have a barometer to measure it against. If measuring it in dollars, sure, it could go way higher, but measuring it in ounces of gold, I believe it will go way lower. And so I think that's the only thing that I would push back against, is that most of these mining companies are hand to mouth. They don't have the financing or the bankroll to disintermediate and go directly to the public like that. Most of them are reliant upon the bullion banks to give them the money, because they spent all their money digging it out and financing it and all the costs associated with mining. So maybe over time, but yeah, history shows that homestake mining, when everything else collapsed, was number one. It would be better than owning other stocks, perhaps. But I do think that I would not say it's out of the realm of possibility that the stock market rip roars, but measuring it in an inflationary, massive inflationary environment, but measuring it in ounces of gold, I think it will end up being less and less and less in terms of its ounces of gold.
Andy Schectman, the president and founder of Miles Franklin Precious Metals. Andy's expertise provides a clear and compelling case for the enduring value of gold and silver, especially amidst the backdrop of declining fiat currencies and global economic turbulence. Buckle up for an enlightening discussion. Andy starts by expressing his admiration for Alasdair Macleod, a figure he holds in high regard for his intellect and insights. He recounts a historical example from the Great Depression, when homestake mining was the top performing stock. This highlights a key point. During economic downturns, gold and silver stocks can outperform. However, Andy cautions against putting too much faith in mining companies, as things can deteriorate rapidly. This caution stems from the fact that many mining companies are run by geologists who may not have the business acumen of leaders like Keith Neumeyer. The U.S. debt situation is alarming, with almost $200 trillion in obligations, including underfunded Medicare, Social Security, and military pensions. The country is accumulating $1 trillion in debt every 100 days. This rate of debt accumulation is unsustainable and will inevitably lead to higher inflation. Imagine the U.S. economy as a high-speed train hurtling towards a cliff. The rapid increase in debt is the accelerating train, and unless there is a significant change, a crash is imminent. In this scenario, gold and silver act as the safety nets that can mitigate the impact of the crash. Inflation is a persistent issue that isn't going away. As countries divest more of their dollar holdings, the dollar's value declines, leading to increased inflation. In such an environment, gold and silver become more attractive as they retain their purchasing power when fiat currencies do not. Gold and silver have historically served as hedges against inflation. When the value of money decreases, the value of tangible assets like gold and silver increases. This is why these precious metals are considered safe havens during times of economic instability. Andy predicts a potential megatrend in commodities driven by inflation. While the stock market might surge in nominal terms, its real value must be measured in ounces of gold, not dollars. This perspective highlights the relative stability of gold compared to fiat currencies and stocks. In an inflationary environment, the nominal value of stocks might rise, but their true value, when measured against gold, could decline. This insight is crucial for investors looking to protect their wealth in uncertain times. While history shows that mining stocks can outperform during economic downturns, Andy advises caution. Most mining companies operate hand-to-mouth, relying heavily on financing from bullion banks. This dependency makes them vulnerable to financial instability. Therefore, while there is value in mining shares, investors should not place all their bets on this sector. Mining companies can be likened to marathon runners. They may start strong, but without adequate support and resources, they might not finish the race. Diversification and cautious investment are key strategies in this sector. Andy emphasizes the role of geopolitical events in shaping the gold market. The weaponization of the dollar through sanctions and executive orders has led countries to reconsider their reliance on the U.S. currency. This shift is evident in the actions of countries like China and Russia, which are increasing their gold reserves and reducing their dollar holdings. The political landscape in the U.S. also influences global perceptions. Issues such as immigration, judicial system integrity, and electoral fairness affect foreign investors' confidence in the dollar. When investors lose faith in a currency, they seek alternatives, and gold is a natural choice. The U.S. has been using its dollar dominance as a geopolitical weapon, enforcing sanctions and economic pressure on the various countries. This has led to a growing movement among nations to diversify away from the dollar, increasing their gold reserves as a hedge against U.S. financial policies. This move away from the dollar is like countries building their own boats to avoid being tied to a sinking ship. Gold and silver provide these nations with the financial independence and stability they need in uncertain times. As fiat currencies decline and inflation rises, these precious metals offer a reliable store of value. Historical lessons, debt realities, and geopolitical factors all underscore the importance of including gold and silver in one's investment portfolio.
I think that the gold market is geopolitical events and political events, and it's never been more so ever. That's everything I've been talking about for 2 years. The weaponizing of the dollar and the signing the executive order to go green, there's your geopolitical. And in terms of political, look, when people are around the world are thinking, do we want to hold dollars and treasuries after seeing weaponization and a country that's creating all of this debt, $1 trillion in debt every 100 days? It took 200 years to do that. You look at the immigration. What immigration system do we have? We don't have an immigration system. We have 20 million people in here illegally. When you look at the Justice Department, people wonder, is it politicized? Is it two-tiered? I don't care what your view is on Trump or Biden. Be honest with yourself and say, has Merrick Garland and the Justice Department acted honorably, and is there a two-tiered system? And I would say most people would question that. When you talk about the electoral system, well, here we go. I mean, most people would say that there was some very strange going-ons in the last election. No matter how you feel about either candidate, people around the world are saying, are their elections fair? Is their judicial system fair? Their immigration system is a mess. There's lawlessness in their cities, and they're creating $1 trillion in debt, which is political because it's the irresponsible, brain-dead fiscal sanity that's been, it's just ridiculous, the fiscal irresponsibility. And the monetary brain-dead policy, that's all political. But let's just simply say this. I've been shooting guns for years. I own a metals company. I've had a concealed permit for 15 years or longer. And I shoot so that I, God forbid, ever have to be proficient in it. I've shot plenty of AR-15s. And from 100 yards away with a laser dot, it's a 2-foot putt. It's that easy. And 1/8 of an inch separates sanity from craziness. 1/8 of an inch. What would the world look like today? What would Xi Jinping and Putin be talking about if Trump had been killed? And let's just call it what it is. There was an attempted assassination of him. And ask yourself, I don't care what side you're on, ask yourself, if this were your kids speaking and you were in charge of security, look at that overhead view. How the hell did they not have protection on a direct sight of line 120 yards away, a pitching wedge? How the hell do they not have a direct line of sight covered. How? I mean, you can say what you want, and there's a real fine line between conspiracy and reality, but if that ain't frickin' political, I don't know what is. They attempted to kill the guy. And the powers that be can say, we didn't do this. We had nothing to do with this, blah, blah, blah. All I can tell you is this. You look at that overhead and say, that's the number one place that you would put your snipers or your police presence. Not on the roof above him. Sure, you can see everything here, but how about the direct line of sight right there that no one is guarding? And an eighth of an inch separates today from what could be madness. And I would say that it's everything. Politics and geopolitical events are everything, because it's all of the politics that has created the craziness in this country, the open borders, the judicial system, the electoral system. It's the politics that are spending $1 trillion in debt, bankrupting our future generations every 100 days. 100,000 per second. Buy. I mean, I hate to be that way too, but I think to ignore it is stupid.
In this geopolitical climate, gold's market is highly influenced by political events. The weaponization of the dollar and the push for green energy are just a couple of examples. When countries witness the US creating $1 trillion in debt every 100 days, they question the stability of holding dollars in treasuries. Our immigration system is a mess, with millions entering illegally. The Justice Department's actions raise questions about politicization and fairness. Our electoral system is under scrutiny, with many questioning the integrity of elections. These political issues lead to economic instability, making gold a more attractive investment. I've been shooting guns for years and own a metals company. With a concealed carry permit for over 15 years, I've shot plenty of AR-15s. From 100 yards away with a laser dot, it's like a 2-foot putt. An eighth of an inch separates sanity from craziness. What would the world look like if Trump had been killed? There was an attempted assassination on him. How was there no protection on a direct line of sight from 120 yards away? That's the number one spot you would put police presence. Politics and geopolitical events are crucial because they create the craziness we see today. Open borders, a chaotic judicial system, and irresponsible fiscal policy bankrupting our future generations. Ignoring these realities is foolish. The politics that create these issues also influence the value of gold and silver. These metals are not just safe havens, but strategic assets in an uncertain world. As the world becomes more unstable, the demand for gold and silver will only increase. For investors, this means recognizing the importance of these assets in preserving wealth and securing financial stability. Real estate, while valuable, is subject to market fluctuations and heavy taxation. Rare collectibles, though precious, can be illiquid and challenging to value accurately. Gold, however, is universally recognized, easily divisible, and has consistently preserved wealth through centuries of economic changes. It is this reliability and universality that make gold a cornerstone of any robust wealth preservation strategy. Moreover, gold provides a way to accumulate other forms of wealth when they are undervalued. During economic downturns when real estate prices drop, gold retains its value and can be used to purchase properties at lower prices. Similarly, rare collectibles can be bought with gold when the market for such items is depressed. This flexibility makes gold a cornerstone of a robust wealth preservation strategy. The geopolitical landscape is shifting, with power dynamics moving away from Western dominance. The rise of the BRICS nations and their strategic moves in the global economy signal a new era. As these countries accumulate gold and reduce their dependence on the US dollar, the value of gold and silver will continue to rise. For American and allied viewers, the strategic accumulation of gold by central banks worldwide should be a wake-up call. The diminishing trust in the U.S. financial system and the increasing debt obligations pose significant risks. Diversifying into physical gold and silver can provide a hedge against these risks and offer long-term financial security. This strategy is not just about preserving value, but ensuring stability in an uncertain world. Stay informed, diversify your portfolio, and safeguard your wealth with strategic investments in precious metals. Understanding these global shifts and positioning yourself accordingly is crucial for protecting your financial future. The actions of central banks and the macroeconomic trends provide a clear roadmap. Following this roadmap can help investors safeguard their wealth and ensure long-term financial stability. In conclusion, the value of gold and silver goes beyond their physical properties. They are strategic assets that offer stability and security in an uncertain world. As geopolitical events and fiscal policies continue to shape the global economy, these metals will remain critical for preserving wealth and achieving financial stability. Investing in gold and silver is not just a defensive strategy, it's a proactive approach to securing your financial future in a rapidly changing world. For our American and allied viewers, the strategic accumulation of gold by central banks worldwide should be a wake-up call. The diminishing trust in the U.S. financial system and the increasing debt obligations pose significant risks. Diversifying into physical gold and silver can provide a hedge against these risks and offer long-term financial security. This strategy is not just about preserving value, but ensuring stability in an uncertain world. Stay informed, diversify your portfolio, and safeguard your wealth with strategic investments in precious metals. Understanding these global shifts and positioning yourself accordingly is crucial for protecting your financial future.
Stay informed about the latest developments shaping the precious metals market with regular updates from the Finance Daily team. Not only that, but as a subscriber, you'll also receive timely silver and gold price notifications and early access to groundbreaking news unavailable to the general public. Join our free gold and silver newsletter today. Link in the description.